Coach got a lot of wide receivers on the field against Kansas. A lot of, I guess, film to look at. After that, plus the off week of practice, does the rotation start narrowing down a little bit, or have most of those players earned the shot to get on the field? Where is that right now?
Yep, good question, Kevin. Yeah, we got a lot of guys that have earned the right to be out there and have earned the right to be out there and prove what they can do production-wise during, a game, which is much different, I mean, it's real that when you do things out there and the big lights are on and you do it in this conference and those things tend to show for themselves. So we're just really challenging our guys as an offensive staff to go out there, earn what they get during practice and during the week, and then go out there on Saturdays and see what we can get. So it was good to play. I think we played 8 significant guys. Of course, TJ went out with the injury early, but we played 8 guys pretty significantly out there. We're starting to develop trust, and to be honest with you, I think it builds program morale and long-term success, Kevin, because I think if you're not careful, you can play 3 or 4 guys and sit there, and there's a lot of guys sitting there wondering if they can or can't play. And I think that our program is built on a lot of long-term success at the wideout position, and the way we're going to do that is to be able to show our current players and our future players that, hey, we play a lot of guys, we have a lot of fun, we're going to throw the football, we're going to be fast-paced, and so we're just trying to promote that and do that and build confidence as we do it.
Okay, Ryan, we'll go to you.
Hey, Gerad, I asked Neil this. I'd like to get your perspective, too. Just a little bit on Sam James. Obviously, the first 3.5 quarters on Saturday probably weren't his finest moments, but you got him a touchdown catch late in that game. Just, how important was that to give him something to end the day on that was positive? And just how are you guys handling trying to get him on track with the potential he has? It has to be important for your offense.
Awesome question. Hey, listen, we have all been there, right? I mean, somehow, some way, every one of us have been there. And you think about it, we live in a pretty cynical world, unfortunately, at times. And so what do? Do you lose faith and teach a kid how to fail and just be tossed to the side? Or do you teach a kid how to stand tall, face it when everyone else probably wants him to sit, or trust the fact that Sam James is a good player who went through a tough time there in the first quarter and a half, and we've got to do something to stand by the kid, or what's he going to stand for later in life? And so it's a fine line too. He's also got to be a productive player, and he knows that. But I think that for him to stay with it and figure it out and have that piece of success then is going to help him later. And for us to find a way to get us through and give guys the right to make plays but also stand by our guys, whether it be him or anyone else, is crucial not only in football but in life. And so it's a valuable lesson for all of us, and we're going to continue to grow together, support our players, and believe in them regardless of results first. And then I bet in the long run we're going to be better for it, both as men and as players.
Go ahead, Greg Hunter.
So Gerad, this is probably a better question for Sean Reagan, but do you worry about Jarrett Doege getting overhyped going home, playing in front of, family and friends directly? And is he a kid that could get overexcited, or do you not worry about that too much?
I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think Coach Reagan or he is either. I think that we would all be fooling ourselves if there isn't thoughts by him, his family, and those things. But at the same time, I think that, again, if you go back and you realize that all of the truth lies through work, and you don't just focus on things that will make you ride this wave. Coach Brown has talked about some things about the process and staying neutral. And I think at a quarterback position, there is no better way of wording it than the ability for him to stay neutral. Because if you're not careful, if you ride the wave of emotion, what does a loss do to you? What does a negative play do to you? What do these things do to you when in reality it should really be based on a process of getting better every day and winning games week by week and not thinking ahead?
Next, we'll go to Cody.
Hey, Gerad. So last year, drops were a pretty big issue with the receivers, and that kind of came back around early on Saturday. And last year, Neil told us the remedy for that is just to get on the jugs machine. I was wondering if you have the same kind of sentiment, or if you have any, how do you deal with drops?
Yeah, it's it comes up every place I've been. It was a topic that came up in the last place I was at, other places before. Those things come up because there's such a I say it all the time in the years doing this. It's such a little league coach mentality. Anybody who drops a ball, everybody screams, my mom included back home. What do we scream? We scream, catch the ball, you know. So it's just like the kid that's pitching. You know, I've said this before publicly, like, son, throw strikes. Throw strikes. Oh, I got you, Dad. I got you. You want me to throw strikes, not balls, you know. So listen, it is an issue that we can't let be an issue. So the response to a drop is two things. During the game, you got to have a trigger that allows your body to get back to finding some fundamental issues of why you dropped it, or having a trigger not to go there again. And then the tough part is, of course, Coach Brown and I agree totally on it. There is work to be put in to make sure, but I think it's the right kind of work. I could go out there right now on a jugs machine and catch balls at 39 years old with 4 kids and a dog now and still catch it at a high level. But the difference is, how many catches can we create that are game-like, that build confidence for the right reasons, that allow him to know that he's going to catch the football when it matters most. So I think it's going back to work, but it's also creating game-like catches so you build real estate in your mind to where one doesn't turn into two.
Go ahead, Mike.
Gerad, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, great. Thank you. I have a question about the red zone stuff and the role you all have been on lately. And I was curious what changes when you get down there, but I think Jarrett might have just let it slip where he said that you call the plays when you get down the plays.
Yeah. Well,
and also,
listen.
Going back to that Sam play, and I'll let you finish there, but that just seemed like a play that is specifically for that spot to get him a touchdown. The route was really clever, and they probably worked in a short space. How much do things change just schematically down there once you get closer?
Yeah, so good questions. Much love to Jarrett, but listen, we do this. This offense, from Coach Brown to me to down, we all do this together. So it's a pretty cool little piece of artwork that your whole staff puts together. We give some love to one of our guys that we work on things week by week. We find different plays we want to put in. So one of those plays to our staff guys, we kind of found a different way, and Ryan Nealon, to give him a shout out. So we're finding ways to put plays in. So that particular play was found by Coach Nealon, Ryan Nealon, who's out there doing some grind work in the background of some film that you wouldn't even hear about unless you ask the question. So the point is, we're all responsible as a staff to making sure we find success, and the red zone success is built by all of us. And I think we've taken great pride from the offseason on in 3 critical areas, but especially in the red zone. And our ability to score points and run the football has been critical pushes. So it's been an entire year of making sure we get better in those 2 key places. So what have we improved on as an offense right now, right? We've improved in running the football. We're improving in the red zone. And now there's more that we just got to continue to grow on. So I think it's the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I think, therefore I am. So whatever we want to get better at and preach on, and we spend our time at, we're going to get better at if we're doing it right. And I believe in our staff and our players, and I think that's why we're seeing some success that will continue to grow as we keep going.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Coach, forgive me if this has been asked. I was kind of but Keith Patterson, we're familiar with him. He's kind of a risk-reward type deal where they'll try to hunt for big plays and also give up big plays. What do you see from this defense this year?
Yeah, that's fair. You know, you're looking at a defense and a personality that allows you to think you can throw the football at times. Then it also will give you an umbrella coverage of 3-down looks with drop 8 that will tell you to run it, and then they'll fool you. So it is a kind of a game of cat and mouse of looking at some fronts to see where you can fit the football and then how they close the space to make you not have those running lanes. So it is, you know, it's built a lot like us with how they do some things on our defense to try to stop the run different ways and give you different looks. And then, of course, change up multiple coverage looks, which are very difficult at times to prepare for. And they've done a nice job because those windows are a little iffy when you start talking about different coverages and spins. So you've got to work those things against multiple looks. And sometimes that's tough to show in a week's time.
Real quick, I know chunk plays have been a topic of conversation. They've given up some this year. I think I saw a stat like 11 pass plays of 25 yards or more. And I think that Houston Baptist game, they gave up some touchdown passes. They are there if you can get them right.
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly in the past have given them up. They've had 2 weeks to close some of those windows up, and I know they're going to work on that, and we do as well. So I think that it's there, and things have showed up, and I know obviously with that kind of staff and who they are, they're going to work on shoring those up. So we've got to be careful on how we throw and what we throw.
Back to you, Mike.
Gerad, I want to kind of follow up on one thing on the red zone, not to get negative, but it kind of feels like that was one shortcoming in the Oklahoma State where you guys kind of felt you didn't do quite as well as you could have. And that's really the one exception this year for the red zone. Was there a difference in what was called, what worked, what didn't in that game versus all the other instances so far?
No, good question. I think more than anything, if you look back on it, which we all study it hard. Unfortunately, to be fair, you look at it, we really – if you go back and look at a couple RPO situations without kind of labeling exact plays, but there's a couple RPO situations and things where if we throw a good ball or if we make a play and make a catch, there's a couple key points right there in the low red that we could have really finished drives and it would have went differently for us. So some of it was just early year timing on some RPO stuff because of the different loaded box fronts they gave us. And then, of course, as we've grown to get better in that situation, maybe maybe the way we have thought about game planning and things has changed to adjust for that as well. So it's a little bit of both, to be real honest with you.